Okay.
There's still more than 10 minutes, so we can put ads on them. Oh, wait, we don't have a partnership yet.
Yep.
I think we are partners, but we're not 1,000 subscribers, so we don't have some of the revenue things, which is fine. I wouldn't put ads on videos anyways. I don't fucking care.
But the revenues.
I gotta make my sense of revenue.
My sense of revenue.
It's like, man, you gotta build a channel first. You gotta get people to want to come and watch your content before you just hurl ads at them nonstop.
I mean, that is true.
Stupid influencers. Anyways, I won't talk a ton about this because I'll save most of my thoughts for the show. But
that's fair.
I'm also interested to see where the two of them come from. And Cody, who I don't think has played Kingdom Hearts, if he's even there for that part.
Oh.
Whereas obviously you are a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so Sean is too.
Yes.
I'm assuming he likes to pick, but we'll see.
I'm
Anyways,
very excited.
Excellent trailer.
So good. And
As
the music.
Tradition. Yeah, hit perfectly. Good fake out. I know a handful of people were a little bit disappointed because it did sort of seem like a bonfire from Dark Souls.
Yeah, I was reading a lot of that.
I was also like, why in the hell?
Why would that even be
would
a thing?
I don't. Okay.
Why would that be the last character,
This is a point that I'll make in the show, but like it had to either be Sora or Master Chief. I don't think any other possibilities were ever in play. Because it had to be something huge.
Yeah.
And to me, this was the easiest outcome. Did you see the leak before
no,
it dropped?
I did not.
There was a post on a forum, I don't remember which one, back in July.
Oh, wow.
Before the last Nintendo Direct that mentioned this date of this Direct specifically, and that they were privy to some information about somebody reaching out from Nintendo to get access to the music for what they called like an online event.
Interesting.
And after the Direct, when this date was listed as the next one for the final reveal, everybody went, Now, there's always leaks, and most of them end up not being true. This one could easily not have been, but it looks like it was.
Interesting. No, I totally didn't see that.
So I was not as shocked because I had an inkling that it would be. Inkling. But nonetheless, it's still, I mean...
I saw rumors leading up to this Direct, within a few days, and I thought that would be really cool. I wasn't even sure it was going to happen, though. I didn't even have any suspicions of who I thought it could have been, but
you know what we should do? That's a little better. What about that? Yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it.
Sure. Yay.
I'm off center, whatever.
Yes.
Actually, we can do it this way. That's a little... Nope, you're not on that one. Just kidding.
I'm
That's
gone.
fine. Whatever.
Yes.
Why not have to... They don't have a game screen for that. Yeah, I mean, I think... Expertly done trailer, which is not surprising. They hit the mark on almost all of them. The Sephiroth one was excellent. The Joker one was excellent.
Really funny. Joker was good.
The initial reveal for Ultimate was really good. There was the Inkling thing, which they brought full circle in the Sora trailer with the Smash logo in her eye.
Yeah.
And there was also just the Everyone is Here thing where they were like, yeah, I remember all the characters from the past games. They're in this too. Like, that was a great trailer. I am finding more and more that I just love trailers in general. I'm almost more excited for good trailers than I am the actual content. And I'll get Sora for Smash, no question. I'm excited for that, don't get me wrong. But I've been watching reaction videos, and I've gone back and watched the trailer a few times.
I watched the trailer so many times the day of. I was just like, oh my god. I watched some reaction videos, but I kind of got tired of them. I don't know. They started to feel like people were just screaming for to be screaming on video. You know what I mean? It wasn't. So it kind of I didn't really love that. So, but I did watch the trailer multiple times.
If you watch enough reaction videos, and I watch a lot of them, you can start to tell who has it put on as a show and who's are actually genuine.
Yeah.
For some people, the line is blurred, but some of them are very obvious in either direction.
Yeah.
There were a couple people that were legit crying.
Yeah, I did see
because they were super happy for the news.
Yes.
And that's cool.
I thought that was nice. But the people who were just screaming to scream, I was like, okay, you're just kind of putting on a show.
It's a little bit too much.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like a lot. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop watching these.
And I also don't mind it as much. See, this is the problem with the pandemic. We're missing some of those public settings. One of the coolest ones for the Joker reveal was at the Game Awards. There was a shot from the crowd where they were watching alongside everybody who was on stream and at home. And those type of in-person things where you lose your mind with everybody around you, I'm more okay with. And I know it's sort of the same thing if you're a streamer and you have an audience of hundreds or thousands or whatever. So you are kind of but it's not the same. It doesn't have that same in-person ambiance, you know?
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It had to be Sora. I don't give a fuck about Waluigi.
I
Shut the
know.
hell up about Waluigi.
I know people wanted him, and I'm like, why?
I wouldn't have even cared if it was earlier. He cannot be the last pick.
That was my thing, too, of like, why do you think Waluigi or any other character is going to be the last DLC character? Like,
yeah, and I understand. Some people legitimately wanted him, but for most people, it was a meme. And Sakurai's not going to go out on a meme, and if you thought he was, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
He started with Piranha Plant, and that was basically out with the game anyways, and everybody's kind of like, eh. And since then, I think the only two arguments you can make on possible misses are Min Min, who I don't really mind in the game. It's a different play style. I don't especially care about her or ARMS, but whatever. It's a good representation. And Byleth, who I think was a victim of just Fire Emblem fatigue more than any fault of his or her own.
Mm-hmm.
Because, another sword character, another Fire Emblem character.
Mm-hmm.
But given how popular Three Houses was, the pick made sense. I think in retrospect, I don't think anybody really is super psyched about Byleth, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
But everybody else, I mean, these other ones, it's been run to death now because we've had so many different monumental picks, but looking at just the scope of this roster, it is amazing what they managed to put together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was the whole, it's Pac-Man versus Sonic versus Mario versus, all these different characters, right? Snake, and now you can just go even further with that because the DLCs had such a bounty of interesting characters to it.
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie's in the game. I don't even care about Banjo-Kazooie, but I think that's cool.
It's a cool pick. I mean... And like Tekken, I don't give a crap about Tekken, but I can appreciate that he's there to represent the series. It's an interesting choice. So, there is so much representation of just various games.
Yeah, Terry Bogard. I've never been a huge SNK guy. I've played a decent amount of fighting games, but Terry's one of my mains now.
Oh.
I like that he's in the game. I think he's a fun pick. And Sakurai's a big fighting game guy. And that line's been blurred anyways. I mean, Smash has been at EVO for the better part of a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
So the fighting game distinction, it's more of a party game than a fighting game, but as many technical aspects as there are to it, it's a fighting game.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to put in a character like Terry.
Mm-hmm.
His moveset comes in and you go, yeah, like Sora. When you look at his moveset, you're like, yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
What did you think of the decision to go KH1 Sora and basically have all of his moves from that? Because we don't need to talk about the Disney side. We know why there's no Disney input on this other than the Keyblade chain.
Right.
But the KH1 choice and all of his moves, what did you think of that?
I thought it was an interesting choice. I was a little surprised that there wasn't really any other movesets from other games. I thought it was a little odd. But I also think it would have been hard to try and implement moves from like all the games, because there's so many things he can do. Mm-hmm. So it was probably easier just to keep it simple and have his moveset from KH1. I appreciate that they got all the costumes from across the series. I love all of his costumes. I actually don't know which one I'm going to go with all the time because there's wait, I like 2 and I like 3 and I like Wisdom and Valor.
And Timeless River, which I won't actually use, but I think is neat.
It's a neat inclusion for sure. So I mean, I know what I'm not going to use, and that's Jumpsuit Sora because that outfit is hideous and I hate it. But I think
zebra pants.
Zebra pants. Zebra pants.
That's okay.
It's okay.
All right.
I don't like the zebra part of the pants. The silver aesthetic is cool, but the rest of the outfit, yeah.
I think, and this is directed more at regular fans than you in particular, but I think people have to remember that this is the template for Smash, which is sort of taking the most accessible version because it might be people's first introduction to Sora.
And from that perspective, it makes sense. I like that they're bringing in his magic. That's something that Kingdom Hearts 1, I'm actually using magic more in Kingdom Hearts 1 than I ever have in any of the other games. I don't normally cast at all, and now I'm actually casting a lot.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and it's so I think it makes sense that they just kind of picked a version and they stuck with it.
Yeah. I actually liked it. At first I was kind of like, oh, it's interesting, and it's kind of almost plain for people who have played through the series because it was all flow motion stuff and massive aerial combos you could do. It's like, yeah, but that wouldn't really work. I mean, the closest thing we have to anything Sora could have had in his toolkit is Mithra's side B, where she does that dash attack where she's like, and then goes back to where she was. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty unique attack in this game. There aren't a lot like that. And all of Sora's moves are like that in 2 and beyond.
Right.
Yeah, it's a basic combo, sure, but then the finishers all start going crazy, and then there's Disney floats and whatever.
Yep.
So to me, keeping it simple, I think, was appropriate. I actually liked it more and more in retrospect.
Mm-hmm. I also like that they've made him like an aerial fighter.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, his domain is the sky, and I'm like, cool, yes.
And some people are like, oh, his recovery's broken. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be one of the best in the game. I mean, he's almost like borderline Jigglypuff levels of recovery.
Yes.
But guess what? If you get killed off the side of the screen, you don't get to recover.
I was going to say, they balanced it very well because he's as light as a feather, so he's going to be launched like crazy anyway. So you might not be able to recover as often as you think because you're going to be murdered.
He's going to die at some low percentages, like some really heavy hitting attacks, like a Pyra side B or something, or a side smash.
Yeah.
Are going to kill him at like 45%.
Probably.
That's going to happen. Music, it's a little bit disappointing they didn't actually get that one particular song. I was not expecting the actual Simple and Clean in a million years. But seeing that as that was in the trailer, I was hoping that would be one. That's really the only one I think is a miss. You obviously could include so many more tracks from across the games, but I think again, it fits with just the Kingdom Hearts 1 approach, other than the costumes, and B, I don't even know what licensing nightmare this was, so I'm content to have like 10.
Yeah,
that's a good spread.
Glad that we have the songs we have. I like pretty much all the songs that were selected anyway, so. Yeah, no complaints here on music. I think the stage is cool. I like that it does the dive into the heart, and then we get to see all the characters. That's such a nice touch that they didn't have to do, but I like it anyway.
Yeah, you can tell how much Sakurai cares about this stuff. And I know people are like, well, Banjo-Kazooie didn't get that much care, or I'm trying to think of another example. I think like plenty of examples show that they do. Like Steve shows a ton of care went into it. The trailer for Sephiroth, I mean, I know they basically recreated Advent Children, but the CGI on that was through the roof. You can tell, like, when these characters show up, it's a big deal, and it's what made this whole experience so special.
Yeah.
And then Sora's the one that kind of, like, brings the light back at the end. The one big get, the lost cause, the tiniest outlier of possibility came through.
Yep.
It's a perfect end cap.
It was so good. I'm so happy that he was the last one. It's funny because I didn't really care about like the second batch of fighters. Like the first, you had Joker and oh God, who was part of the first batch again? Trying to remember now.
They blur together to me because it's everything basically in the. So let's see, who else was in the first one? Why am I blanking? I actually did a Sporkle with Smash characters, and it was harder than I thought it was going to be. It was like yesterday because I thought it'd be fun with Sora's inclusion.
Yeah.
I could pull it up real quick because I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. It's late.
I'm remembering like all the characters from the second one because I was like, I didn't really care about them, and then they saved Sora for last, and I was like, good, yes. Now I'm back into caring. Joker was first.
Isabelle. Ridley. What they pack 1?
Were they part of the Challenger pack? Because there were like 2 Challenger packs, I thought.
Yeah, this list is bad.
I was gonna say this list.
If I just go in order,
seems just to have like everybody, which is fine, but not what I want. Not what I want.
I think what was it, 5 apiece?
Yes.
So 1 was Joker, Hero. God, I would have thought he was 2. That's how long ago Hero was. Jesus. Banjo and Kazooie, which we mentioned. Terry, which we mentioned. Byleth.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I also think, part of the reason why Byleth was so. Revile's too strong. People like Byleth, but there was a lot of disappointment there because that was the end of Pack 1.
That's right.
And even when Pack 2 was announced, you look back in retrospect like, and then Min Min was the first of Pack 2, which also kind of felt underwhelming. But since then, Steve and Alex, Sephiroth, Pyra Mythra, which most people were happy with if you cared at all about Xenoblade, and even then, cool inclusions. Kazuya and Sora.
Yep.
Some big deals in there. I would like to think, as we wrap this up, that for the most part, I mean, the response to this was overwhelmingly positive. There's a handful of people that were disappointed because Waluigi, because they're idiots. There's a handful of people that were disappointed because at the end of the day, whoever this was represented the end of the hope for whoever they wanted in.
Right.
So that's not really a Sora thing. That's just this is it for this Smash, if not every Smash. So that's sad, right?
Yep.
But again, like, I don't care about Banjo and Kazooie, but I think it's a cool pick, and I'm happy for people who like it. I would hope that for the most part, that's where people are at on Sora. And I think they were.
That was everything pretty much that I was seeing as well. There was some disappointment. Some people I saw, they wanted Master Chief or Waluigi or some other picks. But at the end of the day, they were like, this is really cool for Sora fans. So, good on you guys.
Mm-hmm. And Sora's been on Nintendo systems, and obviously hidden in that announcement was the Switch bit about all the Kingdom Hearts games, but
Right. But yeah, he has. I mean, Chain of Memories was on the DS, or no, Game Boy, sorry.
Yeah,
then
GBA.
Days was on the DS. Like
Dream Drop Distance.
Dream Drop was on the 3DS. Like we've had a history of having games on Nintendo systems before, so it's a perfect fit. Like it makes sense.
Joker was the same way. People are like, well, he hasn't really been. It's like, well, he was in Q2.
That was on 3DS, wasn't it?
I think so. So
that
he's
makes
technically
sense.
in there. I mean, it's a reach, but I assumed that when he came out, they were going to announce Persona 5 for the Switch. It's been a year and a half, 2 years, I think, since then. And still no Persona on the Switch, which is confusing.
Is so confusing. You would have thought that would have been a golden opportunity of doing what Kingdom Hearts did. Of like, yeah, we're going to bring it to the Switch now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Strikers is, which is fine, but they never brought the original.
Yeah.
Even the original, forget Royal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyways, thank you for joining our podcast in the middle of Phoenix Wright. We'll talk more about Sora at some point. But see, she cares more about Sora than I don't know where Sean's at on it. Maybe he does. But like Dave, for example, would be like, that's neat. And that's going to be about it.
Yes, that's true.
All right, that's the end of this week's slate of videos. We'll be back next week with actual Phoenix Wright as we progress into this trial. And it's going to be an interesting one. Let's just put it that way.
Yay, I'm excited.
I mean, they all are, right? But
of course.
This is a topsy-turvy one. And then we get into the final case, which is just a marathon. It's all really good. I don't mean marathon in a bad way. It's just long, involved, detailed.
Excellent. I'm excited to forget all of it every time we start recording.
Yeah, exactly. Who's this witness? I don't
What are we doing again?
Mm-hmm. All right, see you next week.